This is a book launch after all. And as we can't be in person, then we will go live on YouTube. Okay. We're looking good. Okay, I think we're nearly there. Nope, we're not. Excellent. Oh, it's all going wrong today. Fantastic.
What's going wrong? Wayne, have you got a problem with your virtual background?
I don't want a virtual background. So my problem is I'm trying to find out how to get to the part.
So switch your camera back on.
Yeah.
And then to the right of where the video toggle is, you'll see there's a little down arrow or up arrow. Click on that.
Oh, okay.
And then select the virtual background option and select none. There you go.
Oh,
actually, no. That's
quite like the other one.
I'm sorry.
No, I think I prefer you as before.
I look too good. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Welcome everyone. Nice to see you all. Hello. Hi, Annette again. Good to see you twice today. Fantastic. Mike, obviously wonderful to see you as always.
Is it 5 people total, or is mine just not working?
No, so you now need to select gallery view. So put your mouse at the top right-hand corner and select gallery view.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. I figured it out. Okay.
There we go. It's a tutorial too. Oh, fantastic. And we've got some guests too. So welcome, Jason and Tanya. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
So now we need to give you the 3rd degree because obviously we're all authors. so thanks for joining us. Where are you, Jason?
I'm in Orlando, Florida.
Ah, lucky you. That's nice. Wonderful.
So not far from Gary then?
Correct. About an hour away.
An hour away, okay.
The first time we ever met was right across the channel from you guys. I was guiding a Tour de France trip and Jason was there as a guest, and that's how we originally met. I realized we lived right down the street from each other and both bicycle racers, riders, and everything else. And I invited Jason on. He's got an incredible story. Jason, I did share a little bit of your story with everybody in a group message, and just incredible to see you and like that, because at one point his face didn't look like that, and that was as a result of the accident that he was in, the bicycle accident. And so it's nice, and shared a little bit of the words that you shared with me, how it changed you. It was the silver lining. So you were like a shoo-in for this launch, honestly.
Wonderful. Well, great to have you here, Jason. Thank you. Yeah. So so we need to kind of know more of that in a sec. That'd be great. And Tanya, where are you from?
I'm like 5 minutes down the road from Vangaea.
Oh, wonderful.
As is my sister, who's the other guest, Natasha.
Oh, wonderful. Fantastic. That's great. So we had lots of family on the call this morning, which is lovely. So great to meet you, Natasha, too.
Hi.
So are you down the road as well? Are you in London?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I got here first and they all joined me.
It's true.
So we've met the whole of Vangaea's family tree now, haven't we? Family and friends tree.
Basically.
Oh, brilliant. Lovely to see you, Sky. Great to see you.
Hi, I'm so sorry for the way I'm in my studio. You can see my apron.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
You can show us what you're making. What's your latest creation?
I just finished a little portrait. Can you see it?
Oh, it is very little.
Looks like a photograph to me.
Oh, it is hard to see. We could just about see it. Oh, wonderful.
Oh,
wow.
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 Oh, perhaps you could do
It's a portrait for NHS Heroes, and it was an initiative to. Oh, Joe, you've disappeared. Hello?
Joe's still here.
She's here.
Hi.
We're all here.
Hi. Yeah, so artists were volunteered to be paired up with someone working on a COVID ward. And so somebody nominated this lady. I've just sent her a photo of it. So we'll see if she likes it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, listen, I feel like we've come on to you first, guys. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Tom and Amber. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Nish, hello. Fantastic to see you. And obviously, Wayne, great for you to join us without your weird screen. Upeka, have I said that right?
What was that?
That's my sister, Upeka. There she is. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Hiya.
Hi, welcome. Great
Thank
to have you
you.
here.
From the story niche? Your story,
Yeah, from,
your sister
my
from the
story is about my
Yeah.
sister. Yeah,
Okay.
so she's here.
Right, that's the letter. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
One that made us all cry. Oh, fantastic. Well, great. Thanks for joining us. Really great to have you. And what I'd like to do is just hear from each of the authors that are here. And so we can just kind of, because some of the authors have met, some haven't yet. So I'm Jo Baldwin-Trott. I'm the co-editor and publisher with Mike Davis Marks, who has been my right-hand man, wing commander. Is that on all that?
Absolutely not. That's RAF.
So thank you, Mike, for being, doing this project with me, because it's been a real journey. It's only my second book, but it's been an amazing project, and thank you for all participating to get this happening. So it's now on Kindle across the world, globally, but it will be on paperback very, very soon. So we will let you know as soon as we can. So please buy it on Kindle first, and then, but some people are really going to wait. And the beauty of this book is that it's not just our stories, but you have room in the book to write your story as well for the people that haven't written. So Natasha, Tanya, Upeka, and Jason, you can write your own silver lining story in this book to make it yours, and also then share it hopefully on Facebook, because we'd love to hear from you and your silver lining story from this whole strange time in our lives. So let's flip back to Skye, because obviously she's on location. And Skye's got a lovely story. So just tell us a little bit about your story, Skye, and what happened to you.
Which one in particular? I mean, yeah, a lot of amazing, like for everybody, a lot of amazing things happened during lockdown. Some, amongst the tragedy and the difficulty and I've been on my own right throughout. So it's been really hard not seeing people I love. But yeah, the big challenge for me is that I've got two profoundly deaf parents who are in their late 80s, and they're living in a complex, they're independent living, but living in a wardened complex. So they got cut off from the outside world. That whole complex went into lockdown, and they were only allowed to sort of walk about there. And I just didn't know how to get food supplies to them, because they can't just, pick up a phone, and they're too old to work out how to do online groceries. So I had a big old fight with Sainsbury's, and in the end, I just phoned around the supermarkets around them, and and everybody's Co-op said no, we don't do home deliveries. But I just spoke to this lovely guy, and I think he must have heard my voice cracking, because by now I was like, how the hell do I do this? And he said, just a minute, there's call back in the morning, there's somebody, you can talk to the store manager. And in the end, I ended up dealing with Anthony. He just is known as Anthony to me. And Anthony was a sweetheart. And so my mum would text me her shopping list or email me her shopping list. She managed that. And then I would text that to Anthony. Anthony would do the shopping there and then and send me the bill with a photograph. I'd transfer online, and then he'd literally drive himself in his car to the front door of this place, and I would text my mum and say, your food's arrived. So that's gone on for weeks, and it turns out that Anthony is in his 20s and has done this out of the kindness of his heart. So this morning, I texted him and said, do you realize that you are now famous? You're in a book. And he was so excited. He said, please, will you photograph the page? I want to send it to head office. So his biggest deal was that he wanted his employers to know what had happened. So that's really sweet. It's like karma, somebody's good deed. Sort of it ends up now being a global story. And yeah, it's really touching, actually.
Oh, it's just wonderful. Really great to hear. What a hero. So there's quite a lot of talk of heroes in our book, and we've definitely got one hero on this call, which is in Nish's chapter. But obviously, Anthony is definitely a hero for you, isn't he? So
yeah, he never, he's so humble, and these are the unsung heroes for me, the ordinary people that, I mean, of course, NHS is, we all stood and clapped for them every week, and luckily no one I know or love ended up having to go into hospital. But there were all these quiet little deeds going on, and I think that was what was so heartening. Gets you through, doesn't it? The difficult bits.
Yeah, and how lovely that this young lad just took it on himself, because
he didn't know me, he didn't know my folks. He got nothing out of it, literally. But I've promised him an artwork for his. I'm going to take when I go to meet him with Mum eventually, because she wants to meet Anthony. I'll make a big song and dance with the Co-op head office, so their PR, if they have some sort of in-house sharing, and I hope he gets a pay rise.
Oh, it's so lovely. I think we need to do some PR for the cult now. We can do some tweeting and stuff, and mention that he's in the book. Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing, Sky. It's lovely, and obviously you've been doing your artwork, haven't you, partly for charity as well during this whole time.
Yeah. Doing portraits for food banks, so every commission I took, I would give 25% to a food bank in London. It's just little things, and it kept me working, because my other sort of art sales pretty much dried up as people panicked. I think it's all sort of, the whole thing's starting to regenerate. So it kept my hand in, my eye in. I've never drawn so many little dogs.
I haven't given you mine yet either.
I know, I'm not really a pet artist, but actually I fell in love with all these little hairy faces. Oh. And they've all got names, and I know them all now. So
brilliant. Oh, thank you, Sky.
So Jo, has she commissioned a portrait of Nala yet?
Not yet. No, that's what I just said. We need to get Nala on the next one. It's your next one, Sky, if you don't mind.
Once Nala, did I meet Nala at the picnic?
Yeah.
What breed?
Yorkie.
As long as it's not a Chihuahua.
No, the girls wanted Chihuahua, and I said no way, no way. So no, she's a Yorkie. She's very cute.
All the Chihuahuas that turned up to that picnic after I'd been so rude about them.
It was a Chihuahua picnic. Well, let's go to another part of London, just up the river. Let's go to Wayne, because Wayne's got some he's got an update on an update, really, haven't you, Wayne?
They don't update. Well, I posted enough so everybody knows that if anyone's read my story, it was just about having a baby from 7,000 miles. I exaggerated, 6,777 miles, 7,000 miles away, and not being able to be there. The baby wasn't really planned, but the lockdown wasn't planned either. And I had every intention of being there. And I guess baby's 10 days old now, looks just like me, and lucky kid. And everything's going pretty well. She's in the Philippines, and I think you guys mostly read the story, but basically I had a pregnant wife in the Philippines that was stuck at home and couldn't travel much because of the really strong lockdown there, with roadblocks to stop you from getting one town to another and everything like that. And so she decided instead of going to a flat in town, she wanted to be near her family. So she was living in her little bamboo hut with a dirt floor up until this last month. We finally got into a modern flat, and the baby's doing well and healthy, and she's had a C-section, but after 5 days she was already taking walks and going to the shop and stuff. So everything's working out really nicely, and I video chat with the baby every day.
Oh, fantastic. And when's he getting his first guitar? Because obviously you write songs as well, don't you? You've been recording songs and writing songs.
When does he get his what?
When's he getting his first guitar? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I don't know. I hope I hope he learns a piano and learns how to read music instead of being a city guitarist.
Oh, so Wayne's been recording songs for a long time, and his song is in the book with a link to his it's one of my favorite songs that you've written, which I absolutely love, called Shine, which is very upbeat and very silver lining-ish.
In case you didn't know, Joe and I write songs together also, and she has a way with words.
Oh, thanks, Wayne. Fab. Okay, well, let's go over to the pond, shall we? Let's go over and let's hear about the bike story and Mr. Stern there.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on, and thanks for incorporating my story in there. And Joe, thank you for pushing me. She told me 2 years ago that I needed to write a book, which, by the way, I am going to be another co-author of another book coming out later this year. I'll make sure it's specific to the industry that I'm in, but I'll make sure you guys all know about it. And then on my agenda now is to write a book probably starting next year. Just do my story, because there is a story to be told. So I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, and one of those is owning a bicycle shop. Again, that's how Jason and I met, through a bicycle tour company. We've owned the bicycle shop for 10 years as of May 27th. The first 6 months of the bicycle shop, as in any other new business, was incredibly busy. And we thought it was going to be like that all the time. And the next 8.5 years were pretty much miserable. Owning a business means you own a job. You're babysitting constantly for the most part. And yes, I know people are going to see this. It is what it is. We went through staff like it was going out of style, and we finally landed on a great crew of people. And fortunately for us, that happened right before the lockdown. And I know that sounds weird, but when they locked everything else down, we panicked initially. We applied for loans. We thought this could be the end of our business. We may not make it to 10 years. It was May 27th was our 10-year anniversary. So we panicked. And what we realized was this: for about a week, everything, like, we weren't doing any business. People weren't coming in. Nobody was doing anything. And then literally within the next week or so, it just started to ramp up. And by the end of the month, by the end of March, we were not the busiest month we had ever had, but the busiest one we had had in about 7 or 8 years. By the following month, it was the absolute biggest month we've ever had, ever as a company in 10 years. The following month, which was May, so that was March, April, May, into May, we completely missed May 27th. We didn't do a Facebook post, didn't do an Instagram post, didn't have a 10-year anniversary party, didn't even we forgot. We were so busy. It's so, quote, buried in the weeds, just trying to, serve all of our incredible customers, that we forgot that we did 2 things. One was, along the way, we offered a extremely substantial, basically, cost to healthcare providers. I came from the medical profession myself. What you're doing on the front line, where'd she go? There she is. Upeka or Upeka? Upeka. Yes, Upeka. Want to make sure I pronounce it right. What you're doing on the front line is absolutely phenomenal. I don't think people they do appreciate it, but I don't think they really understand what it's like. I have good friends still in the profession, and they've just shared their heart to me, that they come home and they just break down. I'm almost breaking down thinking about it. So it was only fair that if one of the only things you're allowed to do, one of the only shops you could go to is bicycle shops, because it's a form of personal transportation, it's only fair to make it available to folks like you. So we're a half a mile from the hospital. They have to go by our house to go to work every day. We did it for a week, and then we just said, forget it. We're going to do it for the rest of the month. And we literally blew through a ton of inventory, giving it away at what we paid for it. Then that was almost like that, in combination with folks just realizing that we were still open and that we were following guidelines and everything else, led to the huge business. So what's the outcome? The silver lining was this: we were worried we were going to have to close shop. We were worried we were going to have to lay people off. We were worried we were going to have to cut pay. On the contrary, we were able to give out cash bonuses. It's selfish. I'm going to say it. I feel selfish. The feeling I got giving away thousands of dollars. Now, mind you, I'm giving away essentially more than what they would normally make in that time frame. So not just matching what they made, but giving them even more than that in cash and handing it to them and just watching their eyes. It just, they didn't even have to say anything. You just watch in their eyes. And one of the gentlemen, they had a baby. Jeff had a baby, my store manager. He and his wife had tried for years, 3 years, and they had a baby literally a month before lockdown, or 2 weeks, I think, before lockdown. And so sharing it with him and telling him, hey, look, one day your daughter's going to grow up and go to college, or she's going to get married, and this could be it. And the hard work that you put in, the effort that you put in right now, the fact that you were willing to serve others, you know, they didn't have to show up, but they did. Imagine what her story is going to be. And so, like I said, it's selfish. I get emotional thinking about it, but it was really, really cool.
Oh, it's amazing, Gary. It really is. And you've really noticed your neighborhood, because, you know, I'm sure everyone's noticed this, people out more, cycling more. Round the corner from me is the bike repairman. That's all he's called. I don't know his name. He's the bike repairman in Ealing in West London. And he has a constant queue. You know, he used to be open 1 day a week. Now he's open 5 days a week. And he's got this queue of people. So it's just amazing. So I'm really thrilled for you. Really, really thrilled. Thank you.
The couple that's been married 20 years, riding their bikes down to go have breakfast. Like I had to close my windows. Otherwise it's like this side of my face is white and that side's black because of the sun coming in sideways in my office. But I literally would sit here and sometimes be working and just stop working and look out the window watching the bicycles go by. I'm like, this is heaven. This is, take it from Jason and I. We don't like cars. Both of us, that's what we both share in common. We've both been mowed down by cars. We do not like cars. If the world could just live on bicycles, we'd be the happiest two gentlemen, I think, on the planet. Absolutely. So it was so cool to see so many people out doing what we love.
Which is easier.
So I guess there's multiple silver linings.
Easier to say when you're in Florida, though, Gary, isn't it? With your weather, let's face it. You know, I know you get a little bit of rain, but you know.
Yeah, it's not. It's not 50 degrees Fahrenheit and pouring every day. Canceling football games because there's storms coming in off the Atlantic, like you guys had to do over there. Football, real football, Jason,
Real football.
that you play with your feet.
But no, I agree. And actually, we're getting more and more bike lanes now, actually. So London is really improving. Nish, I don't know if it is your side, but certainly here in West London, it's really improving with bike lanes, and it's all kind of ramping up, which is great. So I'm totally with you guys. I just think we all, you know, it's so easy to cycle around London if it's safe. It's obviously the scary thing. Cool. Okay, thank you, Gary. Well, let's come back to Amber and Tom, because they've got a lovely story. Hi. So Amber and Tom both wrote a section in their chapter. Has everyone read it yet? Has our guests, have you, or even authors? I know some of you have been really busy. Put your hand up if you've read the book, or.
Yeah, I heard Tom looks better in real life.
I read the whole thing.
Yeah.
I loved everybody's story. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Well, tell us about yours then, Amber and Tom.
Oh well, ours is the big story was it was Tom's 60th birthday, and he took up a job in Nairobi in August last year. So I was really quite sad that he's gone away, and it's going to be 1 year he's going to be away. And I thought I would go visit him in Nairobi for his birthday. And then the lockdown happened, and I thought, oh no, I'm not going to see him. And subsequently he came back. So my silver lining is the fact that instead of spending a year out in Nairobi, he came back much earlier, and he's been with me since then over lockdown. So I'm really happy. But
and you got engaged.
And the major story was the fact that I got engaged. So I got a ring here. Yes, there's a surprise was the engagement. And we wrote the story from our own perspective.
Oh, it's so lovely. And Tom, can you, this all makes me really mushy. I love it. Can you just say the words that you actually said to her for your, on my birthday? What did you say? It's so sweet.
This was the spot, by the way. This is Amber's workplace. So got to my birthday, started the day like a normal day because she normally sits here and starts working. I had to get her going quite early because I know she has a big staff meeting at 9:30 normally. So I get her going early. And then her son, who was 14 still then, was sitting on the sofa, and she hadn't quite clicked. Okay, it's a bit odd for him to actually be up before 9 a.m. in the holidays and he's just playing with his phone there. And I came in through the door behind with a tuxedo and little box, and then obviously I got speechless and nervous, but managed to sort of get out. Well, Amber, there's something I've been meaning to ask you, and would you be my birthday present? And then I sort of showed her the ring, and I'd more or less run out of words by then, but she got the message, which was good, and so said yes.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been an anticlimax, but no, I thought, doing it on my 60th birthday, how can she possibly say no? Well, I had been planning it for Nairobi because she was due to come out, and then when they said, okay, no more travel from places with COVID, which obviously included UK, I thought I'd better get moving.
Oh, fantastic. I'm thrilled for you. Congratulations. Thank you for being in the book.
It's really nice to get a chance to put things down in writing and sort of actually get writing.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, you've written before, haven't you? Because some of us are previous authors and some aren't. But you've written before, Tom, haven't you?
I'm a journalist, so I write for magazine articles and textbooks and stuff like that, but never actually writing something that I've enjoyed. You know what I mean? You just tend to write, it's 800 words, it's 3 p.m. and you get it out. So it's quite different, sort of actually writing something you want to write.
Oh, yeah, you can write from the heart, can't you? I think it is very different for sure. Wonderful, thank you. And let's go to Nish now, because obviously Nish, your sister is here, who you wrote about, so I'd love to hear from her too, but tell us about what you wrote.
Yeah, so my story is, so this all kind of came about, I think, Joe, you and I sat down, and I think I was a bit nervous about what to write when we first started chatting. I was like, I don't know what, I was sort of racking my brains. I was like, I like, there's people who kind of, the supermarket stuff, that what Sky was talking about, and I was sort of sitting there going, I don't know what to write about. And then over the course of a couple of days, I was like, well, the biggest thing that I think, which is my silver lining, is all the NHS workers, and the fact that, I don't know what anyone else did, but on that first clap for NHS when we went out on the balcony, I found it really emotional to listen to how many people were just so grateful. And then obviously I can't think of frontline workers without thinking about my sister, because she's been literally at the front of the whole thing the whole time. And I'm going to start getting a bit emotional now, but yeah, I don't think there's ever been an opportunity for me to sort of thank people. And yeah, it was just my little tribute to you, really. And I didn't expect to cry. This is ridiculous. But anyway, it's just a bit of a message of love. If you can write love letters to your family, then this was what that was, because really speaking, she's been through a lot, and none of us can really understand it. So that was what I wrote.
Don't you get this all going?
Oh, blimey. Kleenex to the right.
Sorry.
I totally agree though, that first clap, I mean, but virtually all of them, but certainly that first one, the energy was just, oh my gosh, it was so emotional. And we were all looking up and down the street, looking at each other, just all tears. Rebecca, how was it for you when you read her Nish's chapter? Because it must be a little bit weird.
It was weird. It was just incredibly emotional actually reading it. To be honest, I was kind of feeling like she was writing about someone else, because I guess a lot of us, I don't just speak for myself because we've spoken about it with my colleagues, we feel quite uncomfortable with this label of NHS heroes, because it's our job, this is what we are meant to do, and kind of not doing this would have been a soldier refusing to go to war, when this is what we do. And for me particularly, I lead my department, and we could see that it was coming from what was happening in Italy, and we were kind of mentally prepared for some of it, but not all of it, because we just knew that we would have to step up. So there was never a choice for anyone, I don't think. And I think for many people, it was like a calling, this is what we signed up to do. All of us who work in the NHS, we work because we want to help people in some way. And that's all it was. So I remember feeling a bit almost uncomfortable about the clap as well, because it's like, well, we're just doing our job and that's all it is. And it's quite funny because my mum called me after the first clap and she was like, did you hear? And I was like, no, I was at work. I didn't hear anything. But, I think it took about 3 or 4 weeks before I actually heard it. And it was really lovely to be appreciated. But at the same time, like, you know, it is what it is.
Well, I'm right, but I'm sure everyone would agree that, you know.
Can I disagree, please? Am I allowed to disagree? Because I want to disagree with the fact that you're not a hero, because I'm speaking from 36 years in the Royal Navy. So I've met a few heroes in my time, not me, but I've met a few heroes. And all of us in the armed forces know what we're letting ourselves in for. We know that we're going to put ourselves in harm's way because that's the nature of the job. In the NHS, you don't know that. You go there to save lives. That's the Hippocratic oath that you take when you become, you know, a health professional. But you don't purposely put yourself in harm's way. And the difference is that actually in this case you did put yourself in harm's way. You put yourself in harm's way by going in front of a deadly virus, which we know that exposure and nearness, proximity, are factors in, you know, the size of dose you get and whether you're going to, you know, get serious implications from it. So I disagree that when you say you don't think you're a hero, you didn't sign up to this. You signed up to help people's lives. And I think that you are a hero because you did something you didn't sign up for necessarily. You didn't sign up to put yourself in harm's way, which is what I did, but I'm not a hero, you are.
Thank you.
I really agree with that. And actually, incidentally, Natasha's adopted too, so she's been working super hard over the whole time. And I think exactly that. Pika, you said it perfectly. You said we were just doing our job, and Tash has said that so many times to us over the last 3 months of just, oh well, we're just carrying on, we're just doing our job. And it's like, yeah, but your job's amazing. And so yeah, I think that letter being in the book, I think my hope is that people like you, Pika and Tash, will read it and think, oh, okay, I was part of something greater than I even realised.
Yeah, definitely.
2 heroes on the call then.
Yeah, we have all realised how important, you know, you guys are. Oh, Annetta's just gone, unfortunately. I was just trying to get her in before she went, but she's obviously just had to go. But yeah, no, I get it, you know, and I think, but you know, the risks have been greater than ever, haven't they? You know, I mean, it's not been your average virus or the average kind of situation when something disastrous happens. So we're phenomenally grateful. And you know, when you said about your letter, Nish, I remember you saying, oh well, I don't know if is that good enough. In fact, Bangay, you said the same. You know, heard it so often with a lot of you. Is it a good enough story? And I hope you now realise that. Oh my gosh, obviously you pick it, but you know, they're all incredible stories and also diverse. But they all have such incredible value. So thank you for being part of it, Pika, and thank you, Nish, for being brave and going for it with your writing. Fantastic. Oh, it's such a shame. Well, I'll come back to Mike then, because obviously Mike has been my co-editor, and we've had an interesting journey, haven't we, Mike? Has to be said. A few little ups and downs. When we thought technology would do X, Y, Z, and it's done ABC. But anyway, it's all been quite a good learning curve, and we're still talking, aren't we?
and don't worry about the journey. It's the outcome that matters, and the outcome is this, and it's fantastic. So my story is really tied up with the gestation of this book, which is so by the way, I'm in Portsmouth, and this morning's call we had lots of Pompey people around. So. But the English Channel is about 200 meters that way. So that's the south coast of England for you in the US. So my story is, I was just getting more and more depressed by the amount of negativity that was being, you know, beamed at us by the mainstream media, by social media, by just everywhere. People were being negative. There was a lot of finger pointing. There was a lot of blame culture. Why haven't you done it this way? Why didn't you you know? And there were little tiny blips of good news stories, but it was so out of balance that I thought, you know, there's a lot of good that's come out of this. Why can't we talk about it more? And as I was having these thoughts, Joe was having these thoughts and talking to Andrew Priestley. who put us together, and we said, well, let's create a book out of it. Let's create something called Silver Linings. And what I think for me is astonishing is that I had a few ideas of what Silver Lining stories would mean, but I've been generally bowled over by the diversity of good news stories and good things that have come out of this challenging time, as evidenced by the book and the 20 stories in it. So it is just such a delight to realize there is so much good that has come out of it, despite all the difficult and challenging things that have happened. And and people need this in their lives. They need the balance of good and bad in order to move forwards. It's all about having a North Star. It's all about knowing, that there is something to hope for. And if you just have bad news bombarded you all the time, then it's easy to give up. But if you have balanced it with good news, and you guys have all produced that in spades, sometimes several times over, then that means you're giving other people hope as well. So I'm glad it was a great journey for you, but it's going to be even better for people reading it who just want that glimpse of light. And Jo talks about Bumpy Journey, but actually all credit to her. I'm the newbie editor. She's edited and published a book already. She's the sort of goddess of my muse in terms of how to do it. So I've learned a lot about editing books in the process, and that's been another silver lining from this whole process. So thank you, Jo.
Oh, no, pleasure. It's been really, really good fun and such a joy after my first book, which was a very different message of women leading, which Nish is in, and very different book about leadership. So this was such a joy. And when the stories start to come in, so the chapters from Australia are just so diverse, aren't they? All of you authors, I think, will have hopefully managed to read all the chapters now. And Juliana, I think you're just downloading it. Is that right? You're downloading it this afternoon. You're on mute, Juliana. You're on mute. Sorry, I do it all the time. Don't worry.
Okay, yes. So, no, I haven't read it yet. I still need to download the book. So I haven't read any of the stories.
Yeah, don't worry.
Just if you've all talked about today is the first time I've heard about all these lockdown stories. I didn't even know that somebody, obviously until you wrote about how you had this idea for a book. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know what who these people were. But it's nice to meet everyone.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for coming on. So Juliana and I are in the same political group in local West London. So really good to have you on. But yeah, so my silver lining obviously is that being still has allowed me to actually do what I love, which is writing and being creative. And in January, I actually said to my board of one, which is my kind of friends that act as my support mechanism for my business, I said to them, I want to take the month off of January and I want to not go anywhere and I want to write my book. And someone joked yesterday, said, did you bring on COVID-19? No, definitely not. I know I can be a bit witchy, but not that witchy. But I literally asked for that. So I was given that and some, but very blessed because Mike and I were in our first book, my first book called Remote Working, which was thanks to Andrew. But it was only because I met Andrew just before lockdown at an event. And if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have made 2 books. And I am thrilled to be part of this. There you go. That was my book 1, which was from, gosh, it feels like years ago. 3 months ago, I wrote my first book, and 3 months later, I'm publishing my second. It's been a bonkers journey. There we go. I'm in that one too. So it has been an incredible journey, but I've got a new zest for life, and that's my book. That's my first. Thank you, Mike.
Very good.
You get a pen.
So it's been an incredible journey, but I really think stillness, and Annetta, shame she's gone, but Annetta talks about this in her chapter, that being still and actually focusing and not racing around. I've got 2 children, so I race around after them as well. But onto that, I've had better time with them in the last few months. We've got closer, we walk more, we talk more. But most importantly, I've just given myself more permission just to be creative and grow this, which I love. I love writing books, so there'll be many more to come. There was even talk of a Silver Linings 2 this morning. We shall see. We shall see. Because this book is a charity book. So, by the way, everyone, I think most of you know this who are here, but this is a charity book. So every penny of royalties of this book goes straight to the Cavell Nurses Trust. Actually, it's Cavell Nurses Trust. And so, if you're happy to, just to make a small donation after this call for guests visiting, and we're going to promote this again some more. Then we would love you to support that amazing trust that helps support the nurses and their families, who obviously have made huge sacrifices. Go on, Mike.
Did we give Van Gaia an opportunity? I know we gave this morning, but I don't think
We
gave
did this
Van
morning.
Gaia.
Of course, we want to hear from Van Gaia again. Sorry, I was off on my little rant about the nurses. Van Gaia, over to you next. Thank you.
Just a little bit about what my chapter's about. Unlike Amber, my chapter was about isolating with someone, but not romantically. I ended up isolating with my mum, and it was really just kind of the story of how I felt about that at the beginning of lockdown, which wasn't good, by the way, spoiler. But, yeah, and just kind of everything I discovered along the way. And yeah, it's just been a real journey of, I think, I went on a lovely long walk with Natasha and Tanya earlier, and we were just sort of talking about, you know, sort of everything that we've learned and what life's not just, you know, overall in sort of the time we've been friends, but also I think the time that this has given us, like Joe, as you said, you know, you wanted this time off, you wanted almost time to stop, give you a to take a breath and do what you wanted to do. And I think actually this time has given us all that in some way. Apart from our heroes, obviously, you've had to carry on working. The rest of us, I think, have probably been given, I think somebody said to me, oh, it's like we've been given the gift of time. You know, it's almost like we couldn't do all the things that usually take up all our time. And so it was just an opportunity, I think, for me to really think about. And I think for me, I'd left my job in November. So by the time lockdown came around, I felt like I'd done all that. I'd done the processing of the things I needed to process, and I was kind of ready to go racing off and find a new job. And obviously there was a different plan. So I think for me initially, I was throwing a bit of a tantrum and being a little bit annoyed that I was going to have more time and more stillness. But yeah, it's been a real gift, I think. And you know, and particularly in the chapter, I talk about the things I've learned about myself, the things I've learned about my mother. Just as her, not just as my mother. I think there comes a point where, as someone's daughter or someone's son, you start to look at them as just an individual on their own, and you look at who they are as a person and the great things about them, their flaws, you know, all the things that they've contributed to your life. And I think this was just an opportunity for us to hold a mirror up to each other and kind of go, oh, actually, you know, I think there was one thing she said to me, this didn't make it into the chapter, but she said, you know what, this time has made me realize that you're stronger than I thought you were. And actually now that when we're not living together anymore, I won't worry so much about you, because I've been able to experience you deal with things and combat things in a way that I just didn't think about it. I just hadn't witnessed it. So it's been a real journey for both of us, kind of getting to know each other as two independent, very different women, but who are so close.
Yeah, no, you write it beautifully as well, Bagay, because, you know, I remember again having a chat with you about it, and you sort of said, well, is that enough of a story? But the way you wrote it is really well done. So I think it's great. And Jill McKay is another person of our authors that has written about her family. Her 3 grown-up children descended on her, and she was kind of thinking, oh my gosh, what on earth is this going to look like? But she's had this most amazing time. Wayne?
I just wanted to say, Van Gaia, my favorite line in the book, I don't know if it's an old line, I've never heard it before, is where you said, I knew this the way I knew the North Pole was cold. I don't know if that's an old saying, but I really like that. That's my favorite line in the book.
I think that's just a Van Gaia-ism.
I like that a lot. You know, I'm stealing that.
Put it in the song.
Yeah, you're going to put that on the song.
In the song.
I really like that. I remember when I was reading it, I go, I got to remember that that line. That was nice. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And talking of songs, obviously we've got our wonderful playlist. Oh, hi, Woofer. We've got our wonderful playlist, which I hope most of you have listened to now. Eclectic. Wayne listens to a little bit of it, but he's not really. I think it tests Wayne's ears. The Cliff Richard number. But it's a really eclectic. And obviously, I love the fact that all the songs represent the authors in so many ways differently. It's fantastic. I think it's really telling of what our different styles and choices are. And it's a shame we haven't heard from Jim Hefferton today, actually, because his son works for the NHS. So he has also written about his son's experience and how all of a sudden he feels very valued, which has been wonderful. So fantastic. I just want to share, before we finish off, a couple of things, guys. So authors, I haven't mentioned this yet, but it's been buzzing around in my head. But I would love us all to record our chapters as Audible and save them onto Anchor so that people can listen to them. And I think if we all just need to read them really simply into the Anchor app, and then we can listen to them through the Anchor. Yeah, there's an app called Anchor, which is like iTunes. So hopefully you're all up for that. I will send you all details via email to make sure you all get all the links properly and don't have to trawl through all the WhatsApp messages. So obviously fantastic. We're out on Kindle, but we'll be out on paperback soon. Was there any other questions?
Something really quick, because I blubbed during my thing and because I stopped talking really quickly. I just want to say this has been such a such a lovely thing for me personally as well, because Van and I have known each other since the first day of school. So we're going on to more than 20 years friendship between Bangeira and I. So, and she knows my family. So it's been a really personal experience. And, like many of you, lockdown for me has also enabled me to, and both of us actually, to kind of get back to our love of writing and find that time to sort of sit down and be creative. And so thank you very much to Joe and to Mike for all of the work that you've put into this. And it's really a really personal book. All of the emotion that we've all put into, I can see that we've all put into our kind of stories has made it a really, really special experience. So I wanted to say thank you personally to both of you whilst I can see you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Joe. Thank you.
Did Natasha want to say anything? I mean, one of the other heroes on the call. No, I think that was a no. A shy hero.
It was no. I love the book. I haven't managed to read it all, but I've worked my way through it. I did read. I know Nish, so and obviously hers is a very touching story for many reasons, but one of them being that I could sort of relate a bit, and that did make me weep a bit. It was really, really lovely, and of course I adored Bangeira's story, but I may have read that a time or two in the past, so it was lovely to see, and I think it's a wonderful idea to do. Your vision was fantastic, because I am sick and tired of hearing all the negativity, and I have enjoyed hearing something and reading something positive that makes me smile and brings joy to my life. And I'm going to make my way through the book in the next few days and cheer myself up whenever I'm feeling glum at work. So thank you.
Fantastic. Well, can I also ask you then, Natasha, and all of you other guests, to please write your own silver lining stories and share them into our Facebook page, because we've created a Facebook page, Juliana, you two, and Tanya, for our new authors, if you like, to write their own silver lining stories. Because obviously at the back of the book, well, this is a fake one actually, at the back of the real book and on the Kindle, there's a file you can download, write your own silver lining story, and then upload it to the Facebook page so that you can share your silver linings as well. And then we can just kind of grow the message, grow the community, grow the vibe, and hopefully that will help, other people that just, and it's a really lovely thing to do. I think it's giving me the time focus, and I'm sure everyone agrees, to really think about the positives of this strange time in our history. Has been really helpful. So fantastic. Anything else I've missed off my prompt?
Anya, do we? Lovely roses, by the way.
Sorry. Oh, the roses.
Lovely roses. I just pointed to the roses.
Thank
I'm
you.
a man. They may not be roses, to be honest.
They are roses. Yeah, it's just been really lovely to watch Pangea go through it and to hear all the stories today, and yeah, just to feel the positivity. So thank you.
Oh, thanks for coming on the call. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the book. 20 stories of amazing experiences, and Australia are probably about to go into their second lockdown, unfortunately. So they definitely need some silver linings right now, because who knows what's happening next, but at least we can dip into this and keep the community going. So thank you guys for joining us. Does anyone else have a drink, or is it just me with the gin and tonic?
Going down to get one now.
Everybody also remember, you look younger.
We're going to have one later because we're celebrating her son's degree. So.
Oh, congratulations, Amber's son.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a screen print. Are you ready? Oh, Tanya and I have got our drinks.
Yeah.
There you go. Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. Really great to see you. Spread the love of the book, and you never know, there might be silver linings too, but if there isn't, I'm really happy with this book anyway, as it is. I think it's amazing, and thank you for being part of it. Have a good evening, everyone.
So long, and thanks for
Bye.